Good evening, TNT family. We are quite a bit excited tonight because we officially has our Prime Minister sworn in today, and so it's official. All that hard work, all that sacrifice, is mission accomplished here tonight. So we have with us again Dr. Parul Miraj and Mr. Sumant Singh so far. And gentlemen, let's kind of share your thoughts on how you feel seeing our Prime Minister officially sworn in there.
Today is a great day for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I think I saw the entire ceremony with the link you sent us, of course. And the crowd that gathered outside, everybody was one love and expressing, all you can only hear, we love Kamala, we love you, we love you, we love you. And it says a lot from the population, that sentiments expressed to her. You didn't see it in any of the previous prime ministers, I can tell you. So it was a touching and a heartfelt moment for me. Yeah.
Well, also, I felt Trinidad and Tobago is free again from slavery, from hardship. That is what I felt. The moment that the UNC win, I had faith that they will win a very long time ago. They will win, and they are to their word in completing every task that they says, right? And Trinidad and Tobago is once again free from a regime that enslaved the country, enslaved its own citizen. I'm very excited to know that we will be improving again in health, in security, in finance, in all ways.
Yeah.
And we have to work 24 hours, day and night. Right? Every minute counts for us. We are responsible now for the benefit of this and the good wealth of this country. As they say, America, God bless America. I say now, God bless Trinidad and Tobago and every citizens, every creed and race in Trinidad and Tobago will have an equal place.
That's right. I agree with you. One thing this inauguration gave me the impression that, there is hope. There's a lot of hope for things to get better. And I think people in general seem to have recommitted themselves, at least looking beyond the short term and looking for something better to happen in all spheres of life, be it in business, be it in everyday life, traffic, be it in things like delivery of services and education and health and what have you. So that hope is there. And with today's inauguration and I think on Saturday they're appointing the ministers. So it'll bring clarity who is who, and so we can address the problems as we see fit on this forum. And from time to time, see if you can engage the ministers to let him know what our thoughts are over here, and if it dovetail into what they are planning to do or they're thinking as well. So the ideas and our expertise doesn't hurt. It will complement whatever they are planning to do. And once our ideas are concrete enough and realistic enough, I think, we have a good chance to, get our ideas implemented for the benefit of the citizenry.
Yes. The thing is also we have the the past government as well has only thought about themselves or their group of people. That is the big problem. That what bleed the country as well, no?
Yes.
And they won elections by lying, you know, tricking the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago and promising them things that they never had, or and for them to say for the vote. Now they in the terminating the fifth year, for the fifth period, the second, the first period, they lied again, fooled the people about timing, and they did nothing, absolutely nothing. And I remember when Kamala was in Miss Kamala was in power, they did everything to sabotage. They did not do anything to help. You are our opposition, right? You give idea to help the country, not to get not to get proper benefit for your group of people. You shouldn't do that. You cannot do that. Your opposition, okay, apport, give ideas, make strategies to help the government, right? Not to destroy it or destroy the country. Now, also later, a few months ago, I heard that, read that Gary Griffith, other expert in security, wanted to give help to the country, and they said no, they are good. Everything is good. Everything is good, right? So that is not the idea. Now with this government, our new government, UNC, crime has to go down, health has to be increased, the inflation has to go down as well, or controlled it and go down. No, I had a question last night. No, Rowley, he said he came back with $1 billion US dollars. What he did with it? What he did with it? You have to save money for what? He did not inject in the people. We don't have to save money. We have to help the people. Inject money, invest in our citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. When we invest in our citizens, like what this government will do, we will improve our country. Will improve. Right?
Definitely agreed with what you're saying. I definitely agreed.
I just love the Prime Minister's speech today. You know, she nailed it.
Yes.
Gary, you're mute.
Go ahead, Gary.
You're on mute.
You go ahead. See,
Gary is on mute.
I feel immune. Okay. Okay. No, I don't think not. Now he's hearing. You hear me?
No, I'm saying you guys can go ahead. I was just jumping in for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm listening to you.
Right. Because I felt today, a very, very light heart today. Very light heart. I know with the health technology that we have here, we were not permitted in the past government to execute or to put in process this health project of the AI and for health. We have less human errors with the AI, artificial intelligence. We will have less human errors, and even doctors will be more trained as well. Not look out what I'm saying. No, the AI is a machine, but it can analyze everything. We have less human error, and with the intention of doctors being trained as well, because you cannot tell me, I am a medical doctor, yes, a medical scientist. I read books, do everything what I have to do, but my experience is there. But the AI will help me. Now the government does not want that. You know, this mafia in the health system where there's only one ring of people benefiting and using the patients or the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago as a customer. There's a big difference with a customer and a big difference with a patient. When you say customer or client, you mean the money. When you say patient, you mean help with your heart.
Service.
Now, yes, service to the community. This is what Trinidad and Tobago needs, service to the community, right? And they did not get in that. Emergency. They do not know what is urgency and emergency. You understand? They do not know. They only know about this, right? About charging for this and that. And the cost of medication is so high, so high. Some people, they go to the hospital and they cannot get medication, or they don't have medication, and they cannot afford it.
Yes,
they cannot afford it.
You're right.
Right?
That is because of the monopoly,
Yes, the monopoly. Now, how is possible
these
that
bunch of
one man
gangsters-
alone?
These bunch
What?
of gangsters
How is-
showed you they can do you what they want, and you can do nothing. You know what I mean? They were very arrogant.
Yes.
I mean, it's the worst I ever seen. And to tell you the truth, I give my people credit for having patience with them, because me, I wouldn't be so nice. You know, I just I thank God that our people was peaceful. But I mean, you can't be putting your foot on our necks like that, and I will remain very nice. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Gary,
yes,
I think
that's
Dr.
true. You see-
Ashford is trying to get in.
Yes. Now you see, when you maintain, you try your best to make a system to control people, you are a slave. When you try your best to free people, it's because you are free. And our prime minister today is a free person, and she does not have any intention to enslave anyone, as the previous government did. Look how she speaks. She speaks with her heart. She speaks with her spirit. And you can feel in her voice that she really loved this country. She really loved the country, right? You can feel it. My skin, how you say, I don't know, like chicken skin, you say. I felt that.
The hair on your skin raised.
Goosebumps.
Yeah, right.
Goosebumps.
Yes. How you call it?
Goosebumps.
Goosebumps. Several times it happened. Several times it happened, because you know in your heart the country will be free. People will have what they deserve as citizens, as righteous citizens. The benefit for the citizens of because of the resource that the country is have, they have right to that. Not to save, not to bank outside, not to give it a foreign exchange, bank to hold your local money. No. That cannot be. You cannot be.
Let me chime in a little bit there.
Yes. Hello, Doc.
Okay, yeah, man, I've been trying to get in all the time, man.
I
Yeah.
told Gary, send a message to Gary that
Yeah.
you're waiting outside. So
Yeah, I heard you. I heard. I'm hearing everything, but you're not. I couldn't say anything. You had to allow me to get in.
okay, right, you're inside now. Don't worry. We
Yeah,
just
go ahead.
started up.
Go ahead. I'm listening. I was listening all the time, so I know what you're all saying. Continue.
Dr. Perun, what is happening here in Miami with the AI and the healthcare is that you don't need to train the doctors right away. You have the technologists who can operate the AI side of it and give the results to the doctors. So over time, you will shorten that learning curve.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
If doctor was trained 5 years to be a medical doctor and another 2 years to learn the AI integration into medicine, but back home, we just do the technologist or the technician or somebody skilled in AI can do the AI component, and the doctor does the interpretation or confirm the interpretation or from the radiological reports and so on. Because right to home they got a breast cancer machine. The Ministry of Health last year they got that. I don't know if it's in use or not in use because of the same thing.
Repeat again.
They got
what machine again?
To detect breast cancer.
Okay.
Yes, they got that.
Yes.
I think they got it from the government of India, not too sure. But they got that as a donation, and I don't know if they have any skilled person to do trained on both AI and medicine who can leverage that piece of equipment for faster the identification of patients. So you can screen patients at a much faster rate. And not only the AI does that, the AI based on the scans and in the scans it has done, it can tell you what is the recommended medication to go along with it. So it helps the doctor in several ways.
Yes.
Of course, the final analysis will always be the specialist, radiologist who will read the report. But this is doing 90% of the work. And in just 2 years here in Miami, this accuracy rate has gone up from the mid-70s to the mid-90s.
Okay.
So how accurate it is.
One question, Dr. Maharaj and Mr. Singh. Does Trinidad does have oncologists on specific on breast cancer?
Yes, there's an oncology department at the St. James Hospital. But you see that the problem is that under the UNC government last time they had an hospital in South Trinidad. But now if you live in South, you have to go up to St. James, meaning you have to leave like 4 or 5 in the morning to get there for your appointment at 8 o'clock. But before that, it had the medication and the services offered in South Marabella, that is. So, but that was stopped, in the previous regime. They stopped all of that. So everybody from South have to travel up north. So
that's a very difficult situation that the patient really and truly cannot travel, but because of the level of stress. You understand? Must not travel.
Whatever chemo thing you have to do, has to be done up in St. James, and sometimes the medication that's available, mixing the medication, the doctor ain't come out that day, or whoever mixes it. It's a horrendous type of situation.
Right. Really and truly, there is no commitment in health by some of the public part. They don't have commitment in helping. Right. Sad to say, but it is true. I saw doctors that is all over the place. You have that now. If we are more committed in helping the patients as it should, they would not have suffered so much. It's necessary that the patients reduce the traveling and to go to their therapy or the chemotherapy or what treatment they have to get. Reduce the traveling because that stresses them more.
Yes,
it's necessary to open the branches north, east, west, south, central. You have to open that and more personal, qualified personnel to attend it to these people, to attend to the nation. When I treat a patient, my patients are exclusive and special. When other doctors hear that, this is a patient of Dr. Parum, they run, they move because they know it's a way that you have to be. Right now, I have now the AI. We have the AI here, technology here as well. I have more precision in diagnostic, reduce the risk of but try to understand because I'm translating in Spanish and English, right? Of mistaken diagnostic.
Yes, errors,
right? Errors, yes, mistaken errors. So the risk, we have a more precise way. We have plan A, plan B, plan C until plan Z. When you get to plan Z, we are nothing. We change the alphabet again. Right? Next alphabet. So this is what the AI in health system even in all system, police, military works, we can give more accountability on how much we spend, how much is needed, how much is not needed. It will be more transparent to the nation. That is a 100%, a 101% fact, right? The EIE, you have a lot of work, Mr. Singh. Sumant, you have a lot of work to do,
The
right?
thing is,
A
yes,
lot, not only medicine. So you would not be able to squander. There will be no leaks with the AI in general. No leaks.
everything is time stamped. Time
Yes.
stamped means that you got an X-ray or CT scan done at 7:57, and after that, what happens? When is the next person attending to that situation? Is it a 3 hours wait time, a 2 hours wait time, or 12 days wait time? So
Everything should be electronically uploaded as they do the job.
yeah,
Like
but
we see in the hospital there, they come with the computer, and all that information is uploaded right away
right away,
documented.
right away. Yes.
And we are we are so educated but yet so behind, because I mean we have politicians that travel, they go overseas for healthcare, and they still
Yes.
don't bring back what they see overseas to our people. They are not interested. These are very selfish people, and it's
Yes.
such
Yes.
a relief. It's such a
Criminal
relief.
song.
It's such a relief. I mean, you're seeing the relief in the. I mean, you're feeling that relief.
Yeah, you're quite right, Gary. And
You're feeling that relief all the way over here, and I mean, it's in the atmosphere. You see God. You see God taking action. You see when people come together, God joins them. And this is what happened in Trinidad and Tobago. That the PNM got dumbfounded, and all their evil wickedness, they got slapped upside their head. That they don't know
Mm-hmm.
what to say. But go ahead, guys.
right,
You see, we have a saying here in Venezuela: every pig have its Saturday. Yeah, right. Every pig, you becomes a pig when you start to do nasty things, and then one day you have a special Saturday.
that day you have to pay for everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, you seen the games with the EBC. The EBC is taking they're taking a whole week to calculate the recount. What does that tell you? I mean, they tried very hard, but I am certain they got some warning from outside the country too. Possibly from the U.S. To not to play stupid with the elections down there. But they did try.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there was obstruction with the police trying to frustrate the voters. With the traffic situation. I had this guy Arnold was with us here the other day, and his daughter, she's a special need child, and they denied her the right to vote. But we have seen people across the country with the same situation, same condition, was able to vote. So this I consider strongly, as discrimination. But as soon as we get into government, I'm sure our government will look into all of these things.
Oh, you
So there's a
bet.
lot of investigative work has to be done, right, guys?
Yeah. Look at Miss. There's a nurse, a very good person. She's very straightforward. She was PNM, Miss Edward Candice. Sometimes she comes up on TikTok, no, and she said it. PNM is no good. PNM sabotage everything. They will do it now. Now we have to have strategies that these people cannot have or permit sabotage in any way. Right? No sabotage in any way. This is a project that has to be approved by the people. The people approve. Nobody can touch it. It is untouchable. It's a benefit. When there's a benefit, there cannot be sabotaging. If you are sabotaging something that is to benefit the nation, you are a terrorist. That is all. You are a terrorist, and there is no other word for that. Right? That is treason.
So you see, that is why you need legislation for these things. That anybody caught sabotaging it, you lose your job and you lose your pension, and everything starts to get straight right away.
I have a better plan. You go to jail directly.
Well, I think they'll feel it in their pockets. So once people know that hey, I will without a job tomorrow because I'm caught, and I do not get my pension, which I've worked in all these years for, they will think twice. They will definitely think twice.
You see, speaking about pension, no, that is wickedness. That you see a old man, a man who served his country with his years of telling me can't get a pension, or an old woman can't get a pension. And you're knowing that the condition that they have living all through these years, people who have 70 years, 80 years of age, and they don't have nothing. They don't have nothing, and you go and apply for pension, and you deny, this PNM government deny people of his rights, deny an old person his pension. When this PNM government came in, there was a lot of persons who lost their rights for their pension. Here in Venezuela, because of you have been a citizen, you automatically have to have your pension. You can have money or don't have money, you automatically have a pension. Right? Mm-hmm. And that should be, as Trinidad has a lot of resources, every citizen of Trinidad and Tobago should have their pension automatically. Right?
Yes. Dr. Parum, did you have a chance to look through the health plan that I submitted?
Yes, excellent. Excellent work. Excellent. I agree of everything.
I have one bit which I was not cognizant of, and I deliberately left it out for the time being, and that was the ambulance services.
Yes.
So,
now, the ambulance services.
I had an opportunity here in Miami to ride with an ambulance. It was part of our training in AI and healthcare, to look at the system, the flow of someone gets a heart attack in South Beach and they have to go to Mount Sinai. First, what is done? You ring up the ambulance comes, and inside the ambulance they start to treat you. The symptoms is relayed to the hospital. The technologist or the ENT technician, they check your pulse, oxygen level, all these things. While the ambulance is going, they monitor you right through. So you are in communication with a medical team already before you reach into the hospital. So that one of the last steps we saw is that when they took you to the back entrance right away, where the ambulance can drive right in, and you are within 15 or 20 feet from the theater area. So unlike there where you have to go now, what happens in Trinidad? They pull you up to the front desk, the front area, they ask you your name, this, that. By the time half an hour goes, an hour goes, God forbid if there's a crowd in front of you and they don't have any triage system to identify critically patients versus who can hold on or something like that. And you know, when you're heart patients, you have a time frame, a 3-hour time frame. If that 3 hours between the time the ambulance comes and attention is given, if you don't get attention during that time, certain sections of the heart dies. That is what the cardiologist told us in the.
We got a medical doctor here can confirm that. I mean, every second counts in a heart attack and stroke with the blood flow.
Yep.
Every second that the brain loses blood and oxygen, it causes damages.
That's true. So it's the same thing. So that 90-minute time frame is critical. How is it? How can someone, let's say in Beach or in Mayaro, or that area east or southeast of Trinidad, where is the nearest cath lab? San Fernando doesn't have one. Mount Hope or Portersfield.
Well, you remember the situation with the lady, and that had the problem with her mom here. I'm going to bring her back. I think Dr. Mars must have been with me when we had that lady here with the with the mother, and she was explaining.
Yeah.
So they could not do an angio when they sent her to they took her to San Fernando. So she has to go back to Mount Hope, where she spent 3 days waiting in the emergency room area on her own wheelchair, can't get a bed, to try to do the whole process over to get the angio, because San Fernando cannot do the angio over there. Could you imagine that?
Yeah.
But
Oh, that's
the
slackness.
bill what was it? A 400 million parking. I can't remember the exact money for. I think it's about 400 million parking lot. In the meantime, the hospital don't have equipment, right? And they have to still have to tell us what happened to all the equipment in Kuba Hospital. Go ahead.
Now it's
Well,
projected that the cath lab costs about 40 million, and they could do about 3 or 4 or 5 cath labs closer to the population centers, like
mhm.
someone for the southeast, at least two for San Fernando, because San Fernando General Hospital serves over 700,000 people for the year. So this is the thing. But one in Shoguanas, probably definitely one in Portisville and Mount for $40 million.
But you know what is getting me, right? Knowing what Mrs. Bisesa did for the country. First of all, they tried to dissolve it, right? And knowing that all what she's saying that she's going to do, you still had people who voted against her. We had our own people rise up against her, trying to pull her down. I mean, and all of this, you see, when God takes action, all of this backfired in their face. You see, when God is on your side, what happened here? So, I mean, all the good
Mhm.
things that she was trying to provide for the country, they went and joined a heartless, arrogant man, knowing on which side for how long they were on which side, debating these same people, right? And then they went and joined them because they're vexed with the leader. You know what I mean? Oh my
Yeah.
God. I
I,
mean, this was a fight for the life of the people in the country. And look what they did.
Yes, sir.
Shame,
Yeah.
shame, shame on all of them. Shame on those who went and formed their own political party too. Just to create obstruction. I mean, this how they don't seem to take into consideration how critical this fight was and what we were up against. They didn't value the amount of people losing their lives, the amount of people losing their health care.
that's why they call them political grasshoppers,
Yes.
only looking for an opportunity to latch on to something, you know. But all this comes to an end sometime. Now, after every election, then they say, you know what? I hear Gary Griffin saying the third party doesn't work, but we've been saying that since way back in the 80s. Third parties don't work in Trinidad.
Well, Bass put it to them in 2007
Yeah,
about being a big fish in a small pond, or a small fish in a big pond. You choose, and it's a two-horse race. It is a two-horse race. And
I,
yet, all I could say is that you put self before the security and safety of the rest of everybody.
that's right.
Hmm.
That's right.
I thought you all said last week Dr. Maharaj and Mr. Singh made reference to the curriculum for the nursing school. I mean, we didn't say all of that, but that's what you meant, I guess. That I think Dr. Maharaj talked about the suja, sewing of a cut that someone will get. A nurse should do that rather than waiting on a qualified specialist doctor or whatever. In your curriculum. And the second thing you were referencing, I think you mentioned it tonight again, Sumant. You mentioned the ambulance facility, that if there are some things that they could do within the 6 months that you could upgrade without having to do any long overhaul.
Yeah, the quick
That
handling
is
tools. The quick
that is
handling
something you want to. That's what I was referring last night. Again, I was saying have things with 1 year, 12 months, 5 years, beyond 5. Because we want them to have things doing like I was saying last night. We want to continue after 5. So I was impressed by Dr. Maharaj's suggestion of the suturing, and that's over here what he but I know he meant suturing. That's the term they use as well. That why do I
Yes.
have to wait on a doctor that I go to a triage and I have to wait on some doctor they don't have, or he tied up somewhere when a nurse, so which is more plentiful than doctors, that I could get this suture and I could be looked at. You could look at it after maybe not, maybe just sew it up. Once there's no whatever, just sew it up and send the patient home back, and there's no need to hang around here any longer. So those
Well,
kinds of little things,
Well,
and
the doctor still has to look at it. Stitching the patient, the nurse does it, but the doctor still has to make sure, he has to check it. So if the doctor is overwhelmed with the emergency room, the nurse who is which will be like a senior nurse, like an RN, will do the work, but under the supervision of the doctor. The doctor will come and check. The doctor has to dismiss you.
So if you would let me just finish what I'm saying, please. There may be other things as well that could come to mind that in the medical thing, because we're looking for a quick fix, least money as possible to spend in the interim to make some kind of improvement in all areas. Not only since we deal in medical tonight. Last night we did the finance. Tonight we're doing the medical things. So if there's any quick fix, some kind of quick thing that somebody could because the PNM really have no quick thinking. They have nothing. They have everything is put on a shelf, put it on a shelf, and someday they'll come to it. They procrastinate a lot. So we in the medical and we in this kind of business, we don't procrastinate. We have A, B, C, D to do. We want to get it done. So maybe there are other things, Dr. Maharaj, that you could let Sumit know, whoever working on this again. That suturing is one. There will be some other smaller things that could be done that nurses or some paramedic could do rather than a qualified doctor, those kinds of things. So if you could run that by Sumit and he could even add more stuff, because we're looking for quick fix, things that normally that it makes so much sense, but you don't know why they don't do it. Like you don't have a triage center. You just mentioned Sumit that you come to a normal casualty and you sit down, you line up, and you don't line up. You have a triage team stand by. When the bell rings, the triage team run out. They know what to do. Everybody get on because this is becoming the heart patient. The ABCD. Everybody know what to do. You alert them with a bell or some kind of buzzer or something, so you know it's like a fire engine. When the bell goes off, everybody running in a direction. I don't think they have that in Trinidad. There's some basic things that we will. I'll talk to you again a little later, sometime soon. But the some of the thing I'm looking. I just read one of your paper, and I have something to tell you about it. But I want to look at the other one first, and then I could tell you what I think.
What we need here is not that somebody pass an exam and you call them a doctor, right? And you push them out into the field. These people have to spend some time with training under a supervised, experienced doctor, right? And 1 or 2 years might not be enough. You know what I mean? I think some doctors are depends on what they're doing, 5 to 10 years, they're under the supervision of a senior medical staff. So they're doing the job. They're doing the job alongside. And I mean, you're playing with people's lives, but it's interesting that because they have nobody can hold them accountable under the current structure. So you could die, and they're not under any they don't face no consequences. You know what I mean?
Hold on, Gary. Let me finish this thing that I'm talking about. Hold on. I'm referring to the curriculum that the government, Kamala Ministry of Health, or people should be able to furnish us with a current curriculum for training nurses training in Trinidad, because there's still a lot of training in Trinidad. So you look at the curriculum and see some things they could spice into there that like suturing and maybe some kind of triage, whatever nurses or paramedics can do rather than qualified doctors, which they tied up in other places at certain times. And you all said already that certain things doctor have to look at, blah blah. Okay, so they're very busy. So are there things that the curriculum could facilitate, because they have a training program going. They must have had nurses somewhere midway, and they might start a new batch next year. So by next year, so you should be able to have a new curriculum with some of these things integrated into the curriculum. So when the nurses comes out, they can do more things than what normally would done a doctor. Than they had to wait on a doctor and that sort of thing. And you all in the field, I'm going with this Dr. Maharaj, because you raised that the last time, and Sumit also similar things. And he said he missed he didn't talk about the ambulance, the service in the ambulance. The point I was making last time, I was saying that you all are asking a third world country to reach the developed status in a quick of a time. You're going to break along the way. So that is why I was asking as well, short term, medium term, long term. This is what we could do now. But before you all can recommend, and that's one of the points I will make to you later on, Sumant. Before you recommend, you have to know what is happening there now.
I know.
So
I was aware of that.
This is what you're doing, and this is what you should do. And here's what you should do about it. This is the measurement. This is the metric. This is the even maybe costing. If you can't go to costing, leave it for the engineers to do, or whoever again. But this is what we need to do. This is how large it goes. So we want to build a new hospital. Okay. What? So that's fancy. Everybody wants a hospital. That is academic. We need a hospital to do A, B, and C, to serve a particular area doing X, Y, and Z. You could even say how large it will be, how this would be in the location. Oh, you could discuss all of that. But they have to give you, after you finish that plan, Sumant, they'll have to give you a job to carry this forward by now bringing concrete things on how you're going to do, who's going to do it, what and when, and then they will implement what your recommendation will come up with. And you may need engineers, you may need this, you may need that, you may need other things with you. But in the meantime, you are spearheading that. So I talk done. I just want to get on to what this is. I see you have a plan. Okay, let me talk about implementation. This is what X, Y, Z. This is the fallback. You have ideas. You know what is it? You see in the hospital, you see the X-ray department. You see this. You see that. You see, all of you are seeing these things every day. It's easy to look at Trinidad situation and say, let me not talk about the HR people here, because we have a different problem. This is some quick step we can do so that we can get this thing up and running rather than wasting any more time. We already wasted 10 years. We don't have 10 minutes to wait anymore. So let's get it done. And I think the government, the present government, will be open to those kinds of things. This A, B, C, D. And Larry, when you're talking to Kamla or her representative, you may hardly see her again. But you will be talking to some representative who they will refer you to. The same thing they'll be telling them. This is what we observe. This is what we want. This is the recommendation we have. Give us the okay to continue, and whatever cost there might be, if there is any, whatever. So, I mean, I teach you stuff, but my students cannot come and give me a paper and tell me about we need this and we need that, we need the next. Okay, nice academic. Implement. Show me the plan, the blueprint, how to get where you want to go. What will it cost you? Give me a budget. How are you going to manage your budget? Where are you going to get the money from? All those kinds of things come, and that's a little later, because you got the idea have to come first, which is what you are now doing, Sumant, when I look at your work. I'll look at the second one and give you a comment again, but we'll talk about this a little later. So just throwing that out in the beginning. But because I'm a concrete person, I want to get things done yesterday.
Okay.
Not that, but I am aware what the constraints are. Yes. So while I wanted yesterday, I know I cannot.
The thing is that whenever you say something in a plan or in a strategic plan, you have to get the rationale why you're doing this.
Right.
Not to create the workflows, which is really the step from moving A to B to C to D to the final output, the final solution.
Right.
So
that's your blueprint. I agree with you. That blueprint is fine. That is good. But
that
now
is
we got to
that is what is in the plan which I submitted. I don't know if you saw that one.
I only look at one. I didn't see the other one. I only look at one.
I also do exactly what is it? The short term, medium term, and long term.
Right. I saw it listed at the bottom, but it will be a little more concrete. But I guess if you don't have all the information, say when I have more information, this is what we'll be doing.
Yeah, so that is why
lay that out. So that kind of thing.
That is why we need the input to find out from them the representatives, what are they doing? So we
Right,
now
right.
could fit this in and let them know this is the way we do it here in the hospitals. Or using these resources, how best you can do it down there. Because they may lack certain things, certain amenities, certain skilled nurses or skilled doctors, but there's always a workaround. There's always a workaround in medicine. You know, if
I have
you,
Yeah.
doctors. I have doctors who that I'm friendly over here, willing to come on board with us because they're doing some work in Guyana and other countries. You know that I mean, these are specialists. You know,
right?
over here also, and so they're willing to come on board with us. Is our government has to be open to that. So I mean, the PM,
Mhm.
PNM didn't show no interest at all. But obviously, I know Mrs. BC so will show some interest in that. You know, I did mention a few things to Dr. Gopi Singh and Dr. Budu also. So, I mean, you give them, they need some time now to get the cabinet together and to analyze what they're dealing with, and we will provide the backup, you know?
I don't see anything much happening for the next 6 months because these guys have to get in there, look at see the staff, who is going to work, who is in contract, who is not on contract, what are the structure of these ministries. Is it like Ministry of Education or, contract workers and public servants, and public servants don't take instructions from contract workers and so on. Ministers cannot discipline anybody, only their PSs can discipline them, and so that structure has to be changed. Because why did the government bring in a contract employee? They bring in to break the bottleneck or with some specialized skill to get a job done. And when to get that job done, you have to have a team. Not when that team has 3 or 4 contract employees, but 5 or 6 or 7 public servants, and you cannot give instructions to these public servants. They work
But
by
Mr. Suman, the thing about it is the way I see it, right?
yes,
And I mean, I know they have a culture way of doing things, but remember, the people was given a mandate by this government to change those things, right? So this is how we have to operate. The the minister hires you to do the job. You give the minister the information that you have, and he or she has to instruct the permanent secretary on the directive of what, there has to be a meeting to discuss that plan of action. There has to be a clear understanding, a clarification of what we are looking for from the PS, because we are holding the PS responsible now. And if this PS cannot match up to that level of things, then we have a problem with the PS, right? So you say we can't touch the PS, and what the law is saying that we can't touch the PS. Well, we will have to see about that, right? We will have to see about that. You know. Go
that is
ahead.
what happened the last time. The last time in the 2010, 2015 regime, that is what happened. All the ministers were so frustrated with these permanent secretaries that they couldn't carry out the mandate because they will always put a stumbling block. Hey, minister, you need this before we can proceed. And every time it goes to and from, is a week or a month passing by. So no projects can get implemented.
It's a lackadaisical culture, and they're accustomed doing it and getting away for many years. This is what they
Gary,
created. That's it.
Gary, this is something you'll have to deal with and get accustomed to.
Yeah.
Well,
Because
I am
yeah,
going to present the way I think about things, and it's up to the government there now, to understand what they're going to do, right? I mean, this is I'm not going to hesitate to see when I discover the problem. I never hesitate to say how I feel it should be done, and so we have to chastise the people there to step up, because that is what the government was hired to do. The government was hired to improve the level of service delivery.
yes, yeah, I
You know,
understand everything you're saying. I've been there, done that. What you do not understand is that the civil service machinery is designed in such a way to observe the procedures rather than getting things done. So if a minister, it happened in the past, it happened under Pandy. If a minister walks in and says, "Well, give it to me," but it's Mr. Minister, there's a process to do according to rule number so and so and so, you'll be violating the law. So you cannot do that, sir. Yeah, so okay, you want to violate the law? And then they get into trouble, and then they start to say those ministers are no good, and blah blah blah. The parties, you cannot run this as a private enterprise. This is a government service. They slow, moving slowly and second guessing, and so that's how they work. So I know private enterprise that's the shit I'm talking about. Private enterprise want to get it done yesterday, and government say no, we'll get in due course. Oh, it's 4 o'clock. Let's go. 4:45. We gotta go. We got to leave.
The government, we have to have a conversation with the government too. We need some feedback on that. If that is going to be the case, then our government ministers need to step up. And they need to step up. They can't afraid them. They can't allow them to intimidate them. You know what I mean?
Change the laws, but you got to change the law. They're going to change the law because
That's
the law
right.
says they have to
Correct.
Well, we gone there. We hired there. We got a mandate to change, right?
No,
We can't afraid to change. We have to have the testicular fortitude.
Gary,
to move forward with that.
said and done, boy. Because listen, man, these public servants with 20 and 30 years, you can't shift them at all. You cannot change all. I went through this with two different regimes. On the NAR regime,
I hear you.
On the NAR regime, on the Kamala regime, under the PNM. And there's what you call there's a one hub in this thing. They do it their own way. You cannot change that.
Well, we will call them out on this platform.
The system, the civil service regulations are the one by which they follow. And not only that, the unions follow the same thing. So then they have the unions on their back to support them. This is it's a deeply entrenched system.
Well, like I said, they want some money, they want raise, and we want performance, right? They will get the raise. The raise is no doubt they're getting the raise, but we want something in return. That's how we had to put it to them.
Gary, let me ask you a quick. I know we might come to a close in a moment. Let me ask you something because I think I saw.
Well, listen, we are closing until we decide to. This is our station here. We could continue until we wish to.
It's okay. Yeah, so somebody had, I wouldn't call it, I don't bother with it, but because it occurred to me, I was thinking it through, that the Attorney General that chose this tonight was a former PNM, and the guy has a history of prosecuting whoever, whatever, UNC or whoever.
That was the guy who heavily went after Pandey, That was the guy who tried to mash up Pandey.
Right. You all have anything on that? Because I have my own views how these things are, but do you all have any? I hope you all don't like this other guy who are here talking crap. Is that okay, right? Is that okay with you all? You all support the UNC, I think.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, Mrs. Bisesa knows what she's doing, and I think she has a reason why. The guy must have come over on our side and decided to deal with those on the other side. So there has to be some kind of agreement and understanding. She would not make a decision like that if she was not clear on, so those things, we have to give her a chance. I trust her judgment, and I know she has a reason for that.
That's right. Agreed, Gary. That is the way you administrate, and that is the way you make decisions. He may have some insights into PNM.
Yeah, and we don't want to expose that. We don't want to interfere with that. I know that I have the confidence in her because, knowing her, I understand her. So I know I am confident that she knows what she's doing there. And there has to be a strategy involved and an understanding between him and her. And apparently he has come over. He has changed sides. He has, so apparently he's going to deal with whatever corruption.
Yes.
If you're Ramada or one of
what
these
I
guys,
think about that. What I think about that. This man saw wrong things and he does not agree with these things, and he will deal with it. That is what I see as well. Because if you're in a political party or you're in a place where things are being done you withdraw and you go against it, you are not a traitor. You are just a correct person. And our Prime Minister, she made a good choice. She made a very good decision, right? That is what she would not make a mistake and put a madman there, not because he's wanted.
You
You
know,
understand?
So you all are taking her correctly because my thing is that when you lead and make a decision, stand by her.
you're correct. That's like a cricket captain
Mhm.
tell you to go and bat number 1 down or number 5 down or bat number 9. You have to just go and bat. Don't argue. And
Right.
unlike some of
And
the politicians who are there who
I,
argue,
I am fully confident in her decision.
yes, I myself, I think she
and
made the right decision.
if you find there's something that maybe is something she's not aware of, there must be an avenue to get that information to her. For example, you might
Which
even let
the
her know.
avenue is, if me personally, I have that avenue. If I see something, I say something, and she could always verify or not verify, but I don't hesitate to say something. An email is she gets, whenever she gets a chance, she looks at it. But I mean, if you say something, don't hesitate to say something. That's all.
The party must have a mechanism where members can communicate their objections or their ideas to the higher ups in the party. And that's for them to do because we can't be doing everything. So they got to have some kind of system where the grassroots should get their feeling up to their representative, who they voted for and who they support all along.
I think the prime minister, he hinted that today, in her speech, that she was here for the people. She's going to remain engaged with the people and these kind of things.
That's not what I'm saying, Gary. They have to have a system in place. You could say that how much you want, but you got to have your party in structure in such a
Well,
way that
she's spelling it out in
this
the direction for everybody. So that is
must
the
be set
understanding.
up. It must be. They don't have many of
They
these
don't-
parties don't have those things.
I agree with Dr. Marad. They don't have that. Where is the line of communication? You need an information system where
Right.
ideas can go, comments can go. You may have some information about a particular person or particular representative who is not doing what is supposed. All these things you need to have an information flow so that certain things, doesn't reach her level that she's unaware of. Because it's killed. That
Well,
information is
this
killed.
is what I'm trying to do with our team also, is that my objective, my mission is for she not to get blindsided, right? And the information will come to her attention, is up to her what she do. I'm not going to go in the public domain and call it out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
So our
Yes.
team, there's certain things we're going to talk about here, and there's certain things we're not going to talk about here. You know? So I mean, if I see something and you see something, we deal with it.
Yeah, because
Good luck.
as I was saying, for the next 6 months or so, these ministers and herself, there's so much cleaning up to do, so much different structures to put in place to bring forth more efficiency in the operations. More policies have to be drawn up and so on to streamline these operations of these various ministries. Certain changes, the curriculum changes have to be made in education and so on. Because at the end of the day, let me tell you, she was very smart to identify 13 growth poles. That is the development process in the country. That's over the 5-year period. Now, we have to think, how are these growth poles going to be achieved if you don't have the requisite human resource to implement them? Or how can it be achieved if you don't have the curriculum, the students to study the output? There's an input processing and output for any process. If your education system you don't teach AI, or you don't teach technology, or you don't do computer science, or you don't teach, little coding and so on, how can these skilled workers be employees of these, growth poles? You want to set up a technology and AI center, but the the root of that, the root is you must know programming, must know mathematics, statistics, and then teach the relevant. I went through the thing, so I can tell you doing A-level maths and so on in Trinidad. But here you got to do little different things. You got to not only know the answer, but here you got to know how do you interpret that answer. And this is the problem. When you see something like something says 0.75, that's the correct answer. But how can you relate that 0.75? How can you explain that in, to reach, let's say, an agreeable solution for something? You may get your early workings correctly, but if you don't know what that means, standard deviation up to 2, a second standard deviation, you may get it correct. It is 95.6. Yes, but what does that mean? This is the thing. And if certain areas in the mathematics curriculum, if you want to start to do AI, it has to be a lot of maths, stats, calculus, mechanics, coordinate geometry, a lot of vectorization, a lot of arrays analysis. All these things are different. It's different for us. So then, if students are not being trained on this, how are you going to leapfrog into the technology?
Mm-hmm.
So I did that, a paper on that, sent it to Mr. Dowlett. I think he looked to be the projected Minister of Education. That at the A levels, the certain curriculum changes have to be made, so that will be an input now to whoever is going to study technology and AI.
Before we get to that point, what I am looking for is an education system and structure that will meet students at their level and pull them up, and not push them down, and not call them dumb and stupid, right? If you're going to be a mechanic, you should be an educated mechanic, all right? Not get out of school and go learn a trade. That kind of ignorant kind of mentality. So we want educated mechanic. We want the educated garbage man picking up out the garbage. We want an educated person digging the drain, that he could calculate the levels and the elevation and different things there. You know what I mean? So I think my experience is I found it difficult that you didn't catch everything and you just had to ask a question and you would have been all right if you had somebody give you 5 more minutes, right? So I am saying is the teachers came in a rush, and especially the science teacher, and wipe the board before you can finish copy down what he says there. So what is the sense if you didn't get that information? What is the sense that the teachers, but they didn't come and say nothing, So so that I'm hoping that we have moved on beyond that and we have something more better in place. But the digitization of the curriculum and the information in the literature there is absolutely necessary, so that somebody could go back and relook it, the visualization of it. This is where your AI and everything comes in there. So we do need to go in that direction, and that people can go back and review the work. And so that, in fact, the education system, this is what I'm looking for. Some of the things, I have more to say on that, but, go ahead.
Yeah, I too. And I agree with you, Gary. But even though you know that in today's world, mechanic is not like what it was 15 years ago. Because all
Yes.
these EV cars, electronic vehicles, hybrids, even mechanics, everything, you take your little machine, your little detector, you plug it on there, and it gives you the printer, or it needs something there. It needs something by the power steering. This thing needs to be changed like that. So it's no longer a guessing game. It's no longer, everything is so streamlined and technological related that you troubleshoot the problem based on, on a printout you're getting. Long ago, you had your fine-tuning your valves and this and your points and plugs and all this thing. Plugs in my Ford Ranger last me 100,000 miles. Long ago, every 5,000 miles, you had to change of plugs and points. So the system must change. And so if you have to educate people to do mechanic now, it's technology based. A lot of all these electric vehicles, what's going to happen? They don't have plugs. Everything is sealed. So no matter what you're studying, it's the entire process of learning or trying to do things is changed, and is changing so rapidly that I did a little rough estimation, and we are like about 8 to 10 years behind the curve already in the new technologies. And this is for basic things, by the way. This is for basic things. So I guess I had the advantage of having worked both in private and public 20 years apiece, and knowing the system home and knowing the system here, and getting opportunities here to look at advanced systems and so on. But we're not even thinking about those lines yet. So you see, we have to see what the ministers and the ministries, what is their goals, short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals are, and how we can dovetail our ideas or whatever resources we can get for them for they to implement it. Because we might just be talking all the days of our lives, and because it's not in congruency and what they are planning to do, we may end up, not being of much help.
But we got to know what is the status quo, and what are we seeing. Like some of the things we mentioned tonight. Again, I was telling you about the curriculum that I don't know if Dr. Maharaj will be able to furnish you with a curriculum from Venezuela, but any curriculum that has some things that nurses and paramedics could do, and we could integrate that in the next crop of classes. So the new nursing will be coming out, say from 2 years from now, will be coming out with these extra skills that the others didn't have. Or you could brush up on the ones that could maybe a 2 weeks, 3, whatever, 1 month training for those who are already in the field, already trained and come out. So that kind of thing. No, those are the concrete things that you'll have to write, apart from have the outline of where you want to go. In this, some will say strategic, then you have to make it tactical, because strategic is fine, but
Correct.
the tactical has to fit into strategic.
So, correct, yes.
So that's, and I see Dr. Maharaj is kind of sleepy, and I agree with him. Maybe it's time for him to go to bed. But
No, I am not sleepy. I'm just there. I
closing your eyes. Okay.
I have the camera different now.
I was feeling sorry for you.
No.
The nursing academy was built in El Dorado, and that was closed down. That was closed down by the PNM government. It was open with much fanfare, and we are producing a lot of nurses in the 2010-2015 period.
Yeah.
It has been closed down since.
Oh, you don't have any school now?
No
school?
No.
Where did you get in? Where are training nurses now?
Where they training? That's
Private.
why everybody has left. Privately.
They prefer to hire Cuban.
And private training and so on. But from the time you train privately and nurses see the greener pastures outside, you cannot blame them for wanting to go.
Oh boy.
So that's the
All right. Let me clear up something here about the Cuban nurses and Venezuelan nurses and Latin nurses, no? The word nurse is practically, when a nurse is really trained, is almost like a doctor, but not with so much book reading. They are more practical. A nurse has to be trained all wrong areas. If she's going to pediatric, she have a very good training in pediatric, a dedication in pediatric nurse. You have a intensive therapy nurse. She's well trained, right? When I say the training, they do the practice. Less book, They do the bookwork, yes, there is bookwork to do, but they have to have the practice. A nurse not is not to be packing box and cleaning and those things like that. No, that is not for a nurse. You understand? That is not for a nurse. Healthcare, they do a lot of studies here. Here in Venezuela, first you get a technical for 3 years as a nurse. Technical. There, they send you directly to the hospitals. You have 1 year of theoric, and then you have theoric
Practical.
reading practice for the next 2 years, right? Then after that, they give you a technical. Then after the 2 years, after the 3 years, you get a next 2 years to graduate as a nurse. 5 years of training as a proper nurse, and then you do a specialization now. If it's urology, cardiology, you are cardiologic nurse, you are a pediatric nurse, you are intensive therapy nurse. But these nurses, they rotate in all the services there is in the hospital. How much they pay for their training? How much they pay? You know how much they pay? Yeah?
Zero.
Nothing. They don't pay for training. So if you look, when I was there, I was speaking to several nurses. They have to pay for everything, and that is why most of them cannot continue with their studies. You understand? The government have to put the studies for these nurses to get for free. And if you have very good qualification, if you are not a lazy student, you continue with your studies. You understand? Right? Not because I can pay my fees to study medicine or to study nursing, I will be graduated as a nurse. No. That is not correct. Right? And the government have to respect more the health system, because before there was no respect. And there also are people who are very lazy. We have to look at that as well. We cannot say the system is good, because we have good. You can put very good system, yes. But if the people who does not, or the personnel who does not want to work, how can you have a good service? You understand? Sometimes you can have nurses as well sitting on the job and don't do anything. But there are nurses who are very, very good. Very good. Excellent. I, as a medical doctor specialist, I cannot be without a nurse. Nurses are very, very important. And they have to get their proper training in all round area in their time of studies. Now, let's say we have the nurse now to train a nurse now to put in an intensive therapy nurse. Now she's passed. That take almost 6 months. She rotate one side to 6 months. She have to know how to put an IV, how to make a sutura, stitching up. No, you say sutura,
Yes,
right? Right. Yeah. And my nurses assist me. Now I was in the hospital there, and in COVID time, all doctors are very occupied. Came in an emergency, 9 patients came in, very badly damaged. I stand in the middle of the room of the the emergency room, emergency room, and directed all the nurses what to do. I did not touch one patient. I just give them direction. What is this? What is that? And they say, doc, this and this. 9 patients we directed. Why? They were well trained, well qualified. Now, about why Trinidad is bringing in nurses or doctors from away, and why they are not paying the local nurses, or why they are not training the nurses. There's business there. To bring a nurse from Cuba is $24,000 or $27,000 US a month. The government pays. You understand?
We listen. Go ahead. No. Go ahead. We listen. We don't want to interrupt you. Go ahead.
And how much you pay a local nurse? It doesn't
Oh,
even
Gary.
reach $14,000. It does not reach. And I'm talking about a real experienced nurse in Trinidad. It doesn't reach $10,000. But they will pay a foreign nurse $24,000 to $27,000 US to come in the country. You understand?
Mhm.
Right? Where that money going? How they get that money? Me explico. You understand? I just take out the Spanish word. Me explica. I mean explain. I explain. Right? So this is where the catch is in the PNM government, what they was doing. Right? They prefer to hire foreign people and a side cut for me now. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Right?
Obviously.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
speaking of that, we have some good investigative work to do with how the Ministry of Health handled the COVID and where the money was spent and who benefited. And I spoke to one guy. He reached out to me last night. He said, "Who is this? I want to know how your number is in my phone." I said, "Well, I went and I look. I said, is this so and so?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, were you stuck outside the country?" Then I get to realize it was his wife. The guy spent $6,000 for his wife to go in quarantine in the hotel, right? While they to keep her in the hotel. That is what some of the expense that the government put our people through to come through quarantine.
$6,000 US, no?
No, I think 6,000 TT
Ah.
for probably a 2 week she had to stay in quarantine. Not only that, looking at the information, I think she was stuck almost a year and something outside the country. So this is one person. So the expense to help support your family, whether you had to find money to trade it into US and all these different things, But we could talk more about this another day. But I'm just saying, I'm just looking at how this government strategized this whole thing, forcing people to spend money where they not or shouldn't have spent. In the way that they did this whole COVID management system. And who benefited? We have to look at who benefited from these contracts
Yes.
with the quarantine centers,
My friend, their friend, and your friend, and all the friends.
The
And the
Friends.
friend.
Yeah.
But go ahead and explain the medical structure thing. You see, because I don't think I know the structure, the corrupted with the things are structured, right? But I believe it's doable and we can do it. And we just need the right people to make it happen. And we need the right
Mhm.
people with the testicular fortitude to show them that, listen, this government ain't backing down. So what you did to the PPG before, it ain't happening this time around. All right. So
Correct.
this is the kind of conversation that we have to have with the Honorable Prime Minister going forward. And maybe Sumant, when you make the trip back home there, you could have a conversation face to face on that one with Dr. Tim Gopi Singh and Dr. Budu. No, I know Dr. Gopi Singh. I'm 100% confident that he was a very strong guy
Oh yeah.
in the no nonsense,
No
putting
nonsense.
things in place.
Correct.
So we chatted a little bit. We had a little conversation. Right. So as soon as I know he's kind of tied up with all that's going on right now, but eventually I'll get him back on the program. But a lot we have to talk about cannot be discussed, on air. We have to talk about a lot of things. So anyway,
You,
go ahead, docs, gentlemen. Go ahead with the conversation.
you see, what is going to happen is the projects, all the projects that we have here, we have to have, how you say, the I don't mean to be use obscene language, the balls and the iron hand to do these things, because we cannot tolerate sabotage in ninguna forma, in any way at all.
It's called
Mr. Singh
testicular
was saying that
fortitude.
yeah, Mr. Singh was saying that there are laws. Yes, there are laws, and there are certain people you cannot take off from the position. Now, the trade union as well is backing up people who will be backing up people who are not doing their work. what is the use of a trade union? The trade union is not to defend slackness. It's to defend the worker, right? The rights of the worker. But if the worker
we'll have to organize a Zoom meeting, Mr. Singh, as soon as we put things together with the government cabinet, Dr. Gopi Singh and things like that. But go ahead.
Right. Now is to defend the right of or interest in function of the project, not to sabotage. That is what the trade union is. Now, if like we say, the patron, the boss is doing bad, he has to be sanctioned. If the worker is doing bad, the trade union has to sanction the worker. You understand? And these people who are defending mismanagement, they have to go. They have to go one or the other. We cannot have this culture, this very bad culture existing anymore. They have to stop. They have to stop. No. So a minister walking, and a minister, the word minister, he's the highest authority. Yeah, no, we cannot give you this. We cannot go to that. No, not with me. Not with me. You understand? Not with me. I give an order, that has to go. I ask you for this, bring that for me. I will not ask you to bring a star or the cloud or the sun. No, simple working process for production, for the benefit of the people. You understand? We have to have managers who can manage. Managers who cannot be afraid. You cannot put a person in a position that where he do what he want. You understand? He cannot do that. You cannot do that. My recommendation is these people who do not work, move everybody out. I don't care about you're going to trade union. I don't care about that. I don't care if you have 30, 40 years.
You set up the structure that they, like I said before, they self-terminate by refusing to comply. They fire themselves. You didn't fire them.
Yes.
Because you have to document the performance. You have to document the communication. I had conversation with so and so. This was the issue. They are obstructing the government. Nobody can be so great to obstruct the government. And we need to put a security team for the government going forward. So that they cannot threaten the minister, they cannot threaten the prime minister, and intimidate our government. With a lot of things we have to do. We have a lot of things to do.
Yeah. You know what is one of the best strategy as well? No important position, let's say director of police. They do not last more than 3 months in their position. They are moved. Director of the hospital, no more than 3 months. Because after the 3 months, has been shown that you think that you are immortal. You are the boss. You are the supreme.
And they get complacent there too.
And they get high. So you move the man every 3 months. You put him here. He go there. When he's fresh, he want to do everything. He want to push everybody. You understand? To work because he want results. But when you have these people permanent, 30 years in a position, no man, and he doing what he want. No. Not with Dr. Parum. No.
Next to God.
Not with Dr. Parum.
But again, I have to refer back. I have to refer back to the Prime Minister's speech today. She was very good.
Yeah. Let's go, man. Dr. Maharaj, continue. Excellent.
Yes. Now, when we speak now, look at these things. Before I know that the prison in Trinidad, they used to plant tomatoes, lettuce, and these things like that. Now, the PNM government give these people so much rights that they don't want to work anymore. They don't want to they just go and do their badness, and you're coming out more delinquent from the prison. No? So if we have a good prison system, there will be no corruption because you slip, you got inside the jail one time. Right?
Well, we deal with that structure here. Speaking of the jail, the criminals on the street, there's a connection with the criminals on the street, people in the jail, people in the court system, people in the police force. So there's a lot of restructuring before we can go full force with
Right.
certain things,
Yes,
because
yes.
they will, yeah, they will bring somebody to you'll even walk on your head into your car and bullets pass in. So so
Well,
you have to put some things in place before we can go, full fledged with what we planning to do. Well, we laying out the groundwork, we laying out the plan of action,
yeah, yes.
and we you see there has to be a training on the directive, right? And how we going about this, the plan of action, how we going about it, so that's the way I see it. The structure has to be created, it has to be rehearsed and discussed with the cabinet, and and that's how we take it forward. But I am very serious about putting a good security team that the minute they feel that they can intimidate a government minister, or the prime minister, like how they threatened her the last time, for me, that is not going to work, you know.
Okay, listen. That is very easy to do. There are laws to be changed. There are laws are made to keep the country down. That has been that happened here in Venezuela. There are laws was made to enslave the country, and for the head of state has to go to the next person or a group of person who are not willing to cooperate. That has to change, right? We changed that here in Venezuela. Now the system, the health system is very good. Thanks to that system,
Mhm.
you make also application for personal document, let's say verification that take 24 hours, 72 hours is most is most much, the longest time, right? So Trinidad, you 6 7 months. Now when you have a security system, an uncorrupted system, you cannot be afraid. You have to have your confidence in your security system, right? As a military doctor, I have my system of protection, right? I'm not afraid of I'm in the hospital, a delinquent come and point a gun to me, and if the patient die, he shoot me. I'm not afraid of that, and that here does not happen, right? So the security system, we have to retrain and make a special selection on the members of the security forces, whether army or police, right? They have to be retrained, pass certain tests to be in that confidence to protect the prime minister. The prime minister has to have his protection, or the minister has to have their protection, because I give you an order, you have to comply. And you threaten me, you go to jail. That's all. That is
Good
like
night,
that. Simple
everyone.
as that.
Good night. Good night, everybody.
All right.
Okay.
Good night.
Later. Good night.
Good night, Dr. March. We'll catch up tomorrow or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, nice speaking to you guys.
Yeah, no, you guys could keep talking. Let's say good night to Dr. March. We could keep talking.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I hope you. What do you think? I am a little bit drastic on this these terms, no? Because I cannot put my tail between my legs and say, "Oh, go ahead, you and this." No, 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 no. You understand? You agree or not agree? Or what do you think
Well,
about this?
I am not the type of guy to put my tail between my legs either.
Me either. No, me either.
I
So
am dead serious about the upgrade. I'm dead serious about seeing the upgrade of our security. I'm dead serious about seeing the how to say, the service delivery is upgraded, which is the government ran on that mandate, and no one should be able to derail the government on executing that mission, and I will not tolerate it at all.
But Gary, if you look at members of the parliament and the past government, most of them was gangsters, defend gangsters. Look at
Well,
that.
they had the gangster support too, right?
It went both ways. It went both ways.
I mean, for this election, we had certain people getting threatened that if they support UNC, this and that will happen to them, and there's a traitor. So people wasn't free to vote how they want to vote. They try to make this
Mm-hmm.
thing voting around racial lines, party lines. Your whole generation voted for PNM, but you're living in a dungeon and you're underwater, and your children can get proper health care or proper education. Your children become gangsters to survive, but that is okay. But that's the culture they want to keep.
Yes. We have a saying here: when you violate the rights of a human, another human being, automatically you lose your human rights. I see they have implemented in mostly for criminal have more human rights than the normal citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. No, um, this is one of the biggest violation of the citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. No, taking away their rights from the citizen and giving the rights to criminals. That is not
Well,
correct.
the court system, is corrupted and unfunctional. It's taking 20 years to process certain things. You know what I mean? So it is very slow, and I think that is by the deliberation. I mean, the borders wide open. I think that's a deliberate thing, so that goods can flow to certain people benefit, and certain things that happen. The human trafficking could take place, the guns could come, the drugs could come. That's how they
Mhm.
had it.
Yes.
So everything is
So
by design there, and our mission, the objective we have is to change that, you know, and to capsize that nonsense and put an end to it. We just want not 5 years and then they come back and bring back the same thing. That can happen.
yes, yes. Okay.
Again, we speaking about all these nice ideas, I myself included, but I think we still have to find out what are the plans of the various ministries going forward and see how how we can complement that scenario with our ideas because they may look at things differently. Just need to step out for a while.
Eh, Okay, what they think about it is they will say, you guys living in America and you're not here to deal with it, you know.
Yes,
Um,
correct, correct.
and it's their lives under threat. But
You see, when you when you're thinking about threat, no? When you think about threat, they will threaten you, they'll do this to you if you do something. You would not get the mission done. Look at Najil
yeah, but
Bukele in what he did in El Salvador. In Salvador, you say El Salvador in Spanish. No? That man cleaned up the country.
yeah, because he had the stamina to do it. But
Yes.
listen, we are presenting the ideas, and like I said, the government run on an objective, with a manifesto that is why the people hire them, and the government has to let the people know that when they're trying to do these things, these are the things happening, and that's like I said, Obama went to the people. So some of the ideas, we have to, well, it'll take the cabinet a little while. We presented the ideas, the cabinet, let them know how we think. They are the elected officials.
Yes,
We will provide, they are the ones that have to do the job. We will provide the backup support, the ideas, the thinking. I mean, I am not afraid to go to deal with them, but I would like to have access to a team, a security team, that will work alongside with what I'm saying. So I don't want to interfere with that structure at this point, right? I am letting them who in charge be in charge, and we're presenting the ideas, and the ideas will be presented to the prime minister directly and her cabinet. Nobody's going. I have no intention of letting anybody block the information coming to her. She decides whether she wants to go with it or not go with it. You understand?
Right.
But she's going to know what we thinking, how we thinking, and obviously she's going to ask for a plan of action. How we plan, or what we think about. We have to lay it out, and Mr. Suman Singh will help us put that together. with yourself and others. But far as we could get people here from the U.S. to back them up. So um, presenting all the ideas and things like that. So we generalize it and lay it out now. Because everything will have to be spelled out and put on the plan of action.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I agree. I agree.
But I'm sticking to the idea that the fact that the government was hired to make some change, and if anybody is obstructing the government from making that change, then they have to be called out on it. We discussing what Mr. Sumant experienced, and I know some of it about with the permanent secretaries. And I'm going to reiterate: PSA wants uh, a certain amount of money, and we want a certain amount of performance. Head of PSA, we have to have a discussion with head of PSA in reference to their employees under their jurisdiction. Just like it with the permanent secretary, we have a discussion. New sheriff in town, right? New sheriff in town. It's Kamala Prasad Visesa is the new sheriff in town. She, I really commended her on the speech today again. That she sent a very clear message, to all, and she intend to be engaged with the people, and the people can let her know how they're feeling and what's going on with them. And she intend to deal with the situation. And anybody who can't comply with her, it's either you ship up or ship out, right? She spelled that out today. If you listen to her message, I mean, she dropped that right straight up there. So, you know, so anything else, guys, that you would like to add at this point? Can we do something tomorrow night? Are you up to doing something tomorrow night based on? I'd like to go over the election results. The test was so fine. I printed it out, but it still was a little strained.
Yeah,
I want to look over the election result. We could discuss how we see it. We waited to see. I see they're saying that they'll take a couple more days, which I find so funny. To really disclose the results and tally it, because they have to fix their corruption. And most likely they try it, right? It's just a matter of identifying it, and we have some very good lawyers on board. Let's see how things play out.
I I like to go over the election results with you guys because I am a data analyst, so I saw some trends in it. But we need to get the 2020 results as well.
Go ahead, I'm listening to you.
So that you could do a comparison. Like right now, you're seeing, while UNC had 334,000 votes, PNM 225. So it's like basically 100,000 spread. But UNC has always had around 320, 325 around there. So to say that they got some PNM votes is not quite correct. They got some, yes. My check-in, I say, is like 26,000 PNM supporters. We got over.
I wouldn't say PNM supporters because I would say that some of those laptop children, because the youth really came out strong.
Right.
The youth participated in this election.
No, there's a
Gary,
number.
sure if you check up on the elections, what it is, you can find out too if dead people vote. That happens sometime.
There are a lot of
for the PNM,
you can glean from that. How come PNM always had around 300,000 votes and they only had 225 or so? It tells you that.
It was like 254 something like that.
No, from the report you sent me, it was more than 100,000 votes for the UNC versus the PNM.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, but you see what happened? They said a certain thing took place that kind of chastised them from the US. So I don't know how true that is, but I think they got fair warning about interfering with this election. And they still try. They try to do the intimidation with the police obstructing the flow of the voters and things like that. Here and there.
let's see how it plays out. Our prime minister is in position. Give her some time.
Yeah.
Give her some
I,
time, and
she need at
she
least.
will get to everything. She will get to everything. She needs a little time. So
And
but in the meantime, we analyze. I mean, we analyze what we see, and you put your things in. I mean, you're good at that, putting it in documentation, laying it out, and we will give her a report. You send her an email, and we are not going through anybody to get to her, so they can hold the information and create hurdles. We're going directly to her. She deal with it how she sees when she has time, but it goes to her. Okay. I am working for her directly, not for the entire cabinet. I will help the entire cabinet, but the thing about it is, I work for her directly. You understand? Unpaid. I'm not looking for payment. I'm looking to help my country, but I support my prime minister, and she's getting my support ongoing, and that is what my team is. We work directly for the prime minister.
you
All
know,
right. So
I think we have a lot of people willing to go and help. I mean, I for one can work. If
well,
we
yeah,
are,
you're able to travel. That what I'm saying to you is that I will go when it's convenient. But what I'm saying to you, you will spearhead the project. You did it already. You know what you're doing. We have any discussion. You will add or take away what you need to do. And like I said, a lot of things we can't discuss here on air. So we will discuss that, privately. But we just throwing out there to our citizens across the globe. We inviting them to come on board to help upgrade the country, whatever skills they have. Whether it's in the medical, engineering, whatever it is,
but
that you can.
health and education are the quick fixes to go through, because those areas have been neglected, boy, neglected. Listen now, every ministry is broken in Trinidad. Every ministry. There's from passport and immigration. Like last time I went to the immigration office in South, no longer functions. So in Sando, there has no immigration office. Right? You have to go to Port of Spain, and then you have to come back. And then you don't reach by a certain time. Okay, we only see about 30 for the day. What kind of crap is this thing, boy? These system renewal passport and so on should be a mailing, put it in the mail and send it to them, because nothing has changed and you have not died. So to renew a passport should be one of the easiest things to do.
Which the US is doing it online now.
All the time. I renewed mine about 4
Yeah.
or 5 years ago. Just within
Yeah.
2 weeks, I got it back.
Yeah.
But imagine I live in Pfizer, but I had to go to Port of Spain to put in an application. And if you don't reach by a certain time, they only take 50 or 30 or 25 for the day.
And they make me sign about 25 times when I my passport this time in Trinidad, because I couldn't renew it over here. Like I said, I had a bad fight with the consulate over here, so I didn't trust none of them here. So I
Yeah.
had to go to Trinidad and get it done. So the thing about it is, she find I didn't how I signed here, I didn't look into and sign it 25 times like like it's such a big deal. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so much bullshit anyway. But we know what the issues are. I mean, going through the airport is a hassle. I mean, you get treated like you shouldn't come there. There's a lot of attitude. The people has bad customer service. It's a lot of things. They give you a hard time unnecessarily. It's like they're unhappy to be at work. But
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots of change. So as we think about it, you jot it down and then we put it together. I mean, this is not rocket science. Everybody knows the deal.
Yeah.
Everybody knows the deal. We just need a plan of action. We have to have the testicular fortitude. We have to, like I say, the discussion, the directive has to be given, right? And the follow up and the follow through. This is not complicated. That's how I see it. I mean, you guys are more the expert there, but that's how I see it.
Then they have to appoint new counselors and so on, consulates. in all the districts,
Yeah, oh yeah, there has to be a complete restructure of the foreign missions.
all
So,
of them.
yeah, so I mean, I don't agree with Wade on closing some of the embassies because I understand the difficulty our citizens have. In fact, we needed more foreign missions during the pandemic.
Yes,
We needed more things in place. So we need more resources in our foreign missions to assist our citizens. I mean, so a lot of things has to be done, but again, we just have to give our government the chance to formulate and organize themselves. And what we put it in the meantime, we put in the information. We are putting the information. While them organizing themselves, we organize ourselves here. And that's how I see we should go about it. I am not a person to wait. I don't I believe in that. I like to prepare things and have it ready so that we can. By the time they organize that, we organizing ourselves here too.
yeah,
So with
Agree.
that,
that's
you know,
excellent. We, at least summarize the main points which we bring it up from time to time.
right.
But
So we
I
we
know,
building a team. We building a team. The team is going to get bigger, right? But Mr. Suman, you are spearheading the project basically, right?
I can
Together,
there are certain fields where my expertise lie, but
right. So we will align you with everybody as they come along, and we get to realize what they are skilled in. The skills are added on. They are part of the project and the mission.
yeah,
The mission ain't over. Winning the election is one thing. That's like landing at the beach. We had to take the land yet. So some people get comfortable at the party. Oh, we did it. We arrived. No, yeah, right. We
we ain't
landed on the
start
beach.
we ain't start yet, my man.
Yeah, we just
Because
landed on the beach. So
that's
don't
why
get comfortable.
that's why I'm saying it will take them at minimum 6 months to settle into their position.
Yeah,
And then we have to try to introduce new systems. Hey, we're going to do this way, not from now, rather than the way you used to do it. And those
yeah.
systems has to be sanctioned by legislation.
Well,
And that means legislation has to be passed, and we know how slow that process is.
right.
So don't expect anything, just pick the low-hanging fruits and get it going. The ambulance service, the workflow in the casualty and so on. At least
Right.
ease up the damn flight for people. The,
These ambulance, I mean, you could take a donkey cart and put a light on it and an oxygen tank because these ambulances would nothing right now to tell you the truth,
but
right? And plus
in Tobago,
the EMT training is critical, you know.
training is critical. The quantity of ambulance is critical. The amount, the nice thing I see, which is a quick low hanging fruit, is the employment of the 380 spare doctors we have. Put them out in the schools and in the villages and communities. Let them go and see elderly persons. Let them go and do like dialysis and so on,
But they
rather
need
than
training.
Mhm.
crowd
These
up
people
is
need training.
rather than crowd up the health centers and the hospitals with these things. When somebody comes for dialysis, they 2-3 of them have to come in to bring a person. It's more traffic
Yeah.
stress.
No, we have to decentralize things. We did discuss that. In fact, I had several conversation with Dr. Buru and on this program, and Dr. Gopi Singh, and it's all in the plan of action. So we will source what we need here for them. Dr. Parum is going back and forth, so he's in and out very often there. So the EMT, the trauma response, the EMT medical emergency response, he's Doc Mirage is skilled on that, and any army military doctor who knows how to respond to that kind of a thing, is very qualified, as far as I'm concerned. We getting people shot in the country, left, right, and center. There's accidents taking place. So this thing is needed, like 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So we
Can
have to get
you?
going with this.
I think
Um,
one of the first things we should really try to do. Get some extra ambulances and so on, because that is linked to the crime and the healthcare in one.
but
That will still.
the ambulance needs to be outfitted.
Yes.
It's just an oxygen tank. You need training. We need training for the EMTs. We need some doctors alongside. In fact, some of these doctors who they say they're looking for work, we should make them do some to ride with the ambulance, to work alongside
Yes.
them things there
Correct.
too.
A doctor has to be an ambulance always for transportation of patient in critical condition. Has to be
Yeah.
an ambulance doctor. There
Yeah,
is I
like
don't know how you
over here we have
qualify.
the air ambulance too. Where the aircraft comes and the doctors ride it. We have doctors that have been flown from different hospital surgeons have been
Yes,
flown.
Oh,
yes,
oh yeah.
I deal with them. So where I'm at here, and we have those flights coming in, organ transplant and all these things
Yes.
taking place.
A lot here, a lot of that here in Miami too, because Turks and Caicos Islands, I think Baptist Hospital in
Yeah,
South
yeah,
Miami takes care of all the patients from that island.
yeah,
So they're contracted
yeah.
yes,
to provide all the medical services to the citizens of Turks and Caicos. So either they come, doctors go over there, patients come over here. It's a nice thing of health tourism. And I wrote up a nice paper on that because I used to be a director of tourism in Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah.
right, right.
Let me,
Okay.
let me just slip on. You owe 440, eh? You owe 440. Yeah, you've been paid since Sunday. You're paid Saturday and Sunday. Huh?
Yeah, Dr. Maharaj. So, is there anything you would like to add at this point? I think we covered some grounds. If you guys are up to it, we will look at what's going on and try to discuss it tomorrow night. Let's
All
look at the
right.
news. Let's look at the news. The election result was taking place, and we could build the conversation tomorrow night. We'll probably start
Okay.
around 8 o'clock. So I'll send you the link tomorrow night. All right.
All right.
So let's wait for
Okay.
Suman. Let me see. All right, then. So we'll say good night. All
All
right.
right. Let me wait for
Thank you.
someone.
Yeah, yeah. So I want to thank everyone for listening to us, and we just want to spell out how we think, and we appreciate everyone joining us. This mission is to upgrade TNT. We all looking forward to it. We're inviting all citizens across the globe to come on board because it's in the benefit of all of us. Just like our people came on board and they are all like they now get independence and everything else together. You could feel the relief. Even from overseas. You're just happy seeing your people like they come out of the land of Egypt and they and they are free. You're seeing them.
Yes. Yes.
God has
Yes.
God has cut off Pharaoh's head. You
Yes.
understand?
That's
God has
true.
cut off Pharaoh's head in Trinidad and Tobago. And we should not allow anybody to split up this unity. We want to encourage this unity. We want to support this unity. We see all races and people coming together. They couldn't convince these people. You know how many people got threatened? And we haven't seen the half of it yet. The amount of people got threatened, for supporting UNC based on racial, thing, and political and racial, and so there's a lot to be discussed, and we'll keep on at the job. So, let
All
me
right.
see.
Okay. You see, when a man threatening a man for his personal benefit, he's a coward. It's a
Yeah.
real coward thing. Real coward.
Sumanti there or not
Once.
there?
August 200 for the weekend.
I think he's
Right.
occupied there. So
Yes.
yeah. So anyway, we'll say good night, and we'll catch up tomorrow, guys. Thank you everyone for listening.
All right. Thank you as well. Good night.
All right.